Long, long ago, before cities rose from the earth, before words filled the air, before stories had names, there lived a man of the dawn. His name was Orun, meaning light before the sun. He lived in a time when the stars were the only lamps and the moon was the only clock. The world was vast, wild, and unbroken. Mountains reached high into clouds that no one had yet named, and rivers cut through valleys like silver threads. Every sound, every scent, every breath of wind was the voice of the earth, speaking softly to those who listened. And Orun was a listener. It was the heart of the cold season. The wind whispered through the trees, sharp and restless. Orun had spent his day hunting by the river, following the tracks of deer, but when night fell, the forest became a maze of shadows. He returned to his cave, a deep, quiet hollow at the foot of a mountain. The stone walls were cold against his back. He could hear water dripping somewhere in the darkness, a rhythm, slow and steady like the beat of the earth's heart. He curled up beside his bundle of furs. The night grew colder. He could see his breath shimmer in the moonlight. The stars glimmered outside like frozen sparks. For a long time, Orun lay awake, listening to the distant howl of wolves and the low rumble of thunder behind the hills. His mind began to drift, half in dream, half in the deep rhythm of the night. Suddenly, a flicker of light caught his eye. Not from the moon, but from something small, bright, and alive. He looked closer. Outside the cave, lightning had struck an old tree. A branch glowed, orange and alive, a piece of the sun, fallen to earth. Orun stepped carefully into the snow. The glowing branch hissed and crackled. He felt warmth brush against his skin. It was a new feeling, alive, almost breathing. He reached out a trembling hand. The heat was strong. He broke off a smaller twig and carried it back to his cave, cupping it gently, as though holding a newborn creature. Inside the cave, the darkness bloomed with gold light. Shadows danced across the walls. The flame whispered and hummed. Orun smiled. For the first time in many moons, he felt the cold retreat. He didn't know it yet, but he had discovered fire. All night long, Orun sat beside his flame. He fed it dry grass, small twigs, then larger branches. He watched the way the smoke curled upward, twisting like a spirit dancing toward the sky. He began to see things in the light, shapes, faces, memories. The fire painted pictures on the walls, of deer running, of storms, of stars spinning across the heavens. It was as if the world outside had moved inside the cave, and the cave had become a dream. Orun took a piece of charcoal and began to draw on the walls. Lines, curves, hands, shapes of animals and hunters. The flame guided him, showing him how stories could live even when words did not exist. The shadows moved like ghosts of the hunt. The fire cracked and sighed, and Orun felt that something ancient was speaking to him. He whispered, "Thank you." Though he had no word for thanks, his voice carried the meaning. Later, when sleep found him, Orun dreamed. He dreamed of standing on a great plain. The sky above was filled with stars that pulsed like living hearts. In his dream, each star sent down a spark, and every spark became a flame. Small fires across the world, spreading warmth to others. He saw people, faces he did not know yet, children of the future, sitting beside campfires, telling stories, laughing softly, warming their hands as he did now. And the dream whispered to him, "You are the first storyteller, Orun. You have given light to the darkness." The dream faded slowly, like the last ember in the morning light. When Orun awoke, the fire had dimmed to glowing coals. He gently blew on them, and the flame rose again, soft, golden, alive. The sun was rising outside. Snow glittered on the mountain like crushed glass. The air smelled of pine and smoke. Orun stepped out of the cave, holding a burning stick high. The light flickered in the cold air. He lifted it toward the rising sun as if to say, "I have found your little brother." From that day on, wherever Orun went, he carried the flame. He shared it with others, and every cave that once held only shadows soon glowed with the dance of firelight. As the years passed, the world began to change. The caves filled with stories drawn in charcoal and ochre. The people learned to cook, to warm, to see in the dark. And when Orun was old and his beard had turned silver, he sat by his final fire. The smoke rose slowly toward the cave roof. He watched it drift, like a spirit returning to the sky. He smiled, remembering that cold night long ago when the lightning had shown him the secret of warmth. He closed his eyes. The fire's glow painted his face in gold. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, but inside, all was still. Peaceful, timeless, endless. And as Orun drifted into sleep, the flame flickered one last time, not fading, but passing on, into every fire that would ever burn, into every story ever told. So sleep, traveler. The fire still burns, in you, in me, in all of us. Close your eyes. The night is ancient, but the dream is warm. And as the stars whisper above the mountains, may you dream, as Orun once did, of light that never fades.